Yeah. Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you on Wednesday, May the 1st, May Day. The year is 2024. Let's talk trading. Monthly open with Walmal. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and different from Walmal's. And since this is the beginning of the month, a reminder, risk management. Never lose more than you are willing to lose on any one single trade. So, we're talking monthly here. We're about 5 pips below the monthly open at the time. And forgot to do the monthly wrap up yesterday. So we'll kind of do part of that today too. And we are, let's see, 13 pips off the high, 19 pips off the low. That looks like about 32 pips of range. For the week, all the gaps have filled. And just one other thing to note about the month, we are in the lower wick zone from last month's candle, or of last month's candle. We put in the opening range for the week on Monday. We broke out of it slightly by about 3 pips it looks like, but we're back inside that opening range, and we're putting in the opening range for the month. And unless we make a new high or a new low, it's going to be a really tight monthly range, and I think price will definitely have to leave it. For the year, 236 below the open, 408 off the high, and 186 off the low. It's funny, when I report these, I almost feel like a weather person here.
That is funny.
Yeah, yesterday we had an inside bar. We are about 5 pips below that inside bar low. We are below the weekly inside bar of 5 weeks ago and the monthly inside bar of 4 months ago. And there's some inside bar action on the daily, as you can see. Once again, only 32 pips of range. The pound New Zealand dollar, the one I like to call the new beast, 106 pips of range, and that's the only pair that's even close to 100 pips of range. Even the dollar yen, with all that bank interventions, only actually put in 40 pips, which is more than the 32 of the pound. So something still seems to be afoot or amiss. And right here you can see on the buy zone chart, we're a few pips below, 7-8 pips now below the daily open, which is also the monthly open, but we're above the weekly open, so kind of in that no trade zone that I like to call. And not enough pips for rats, so moving on, looking at the pivot trading plan, price near the pivot is short. We haven't been near the pivot at all. We got down to S1 where the bias is long. Bambino indicator said to take a short, so might want to look for shorts. We missed the daily pivot. Last month we had 2 missed pivots, and then you have to go back to November of 2023 to find a missed pivot on the daily. On the weekly, we had a missed pivot. So far this week, still missing that weekly pivot down at 24.45. We've missed it by 20 pips. And for the monthly, we've missed the monthly pivot up at 124.99, almost 125 by 2 pips. Wick zone, we are below yesterday's wick zone on the daily. And we're going to take a quick look at the monthly ranges on the Smart Range chart. Last month we had a range of 410 pips. That was the largest range for the year, puts us at the 58th percentile over the last 12 months. We did not break out of the previous month's high last month, but we did break out of the previous month's low by 276 pips. And for you rats, high minus close for the red rats was 218, and for the green rats, close minus low was 192. So playing those monthly rat zones prove to be profitable, at least gives you the opportunity. And for you monthly open crossover traders, high minus open 85 and open minus low 325. And looking at the, I guess I call this the range by month chart. Once again, 410 pips for the month. If we look at the year-to-date accumulated range through April, 594. And taking a look at the what the ATR percentage was last month, we actually had 103. So that was some movement in April. At the trade reminder, it seems like we still have a strong control for sellers on the month. And once again, inside the lower wick zone of the previous month's candle. And you might want to consider fading the pivot. So, and that means you'd be looking to go long. So, Walmal, how's trading for you today?
Well, I made goal, and I didn't go and do my bonehead maneuver from yesterday. If anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, go watch yesterday's video and explain that in detail. But yeah, today I did what I was supposed to do, and but it was, to be honest with you, it was very taxing trading. I was just telling TRO that a few minutes ago. It was one of those days where there wasn't very much movement. Last hour when I basically finished up, and it was just sort of like up and down. The range for the entire hour was only 12 pips, and it was sort of like, okay, let's pick up 2 pips, let's pick up 2 pips, let's pick up 2 pips, and eventually it finally broke out of that range towards the end of the hour. It started to drift down. Actually, it happened in the beginning of the next hour. I was able to get out of my first trade that put me in this mode of having to go back and forth, and then it ran up, and so I did well for the day. I got at this point like 21 pips, 22 pips, something like that. But at the same time, it was exhausting trading, and what I mean by that was that to get that many pips, I've got 15 trades that happen in a period of 44 minutes. So, that's not my usual cup of tea. It's not what I like to do. But sometimes what do you gotta do? You gotta, you see the market's doing, and you just gotta go and adapt to it and say, okay, this is the type of day it's gonna be, or you wait. And those are your 2 options. And I've got a bunch of things I got to do today, so I really didn't have the option of waiting. So I went and said, okay, we're just going to go and play this little game of just picking up a pip or 2 here and there, and take a couple losses, and knowing that that's going to happen, and hopefully at the end of the day you wind up with money in the bank, and and that's just what I did today. So meanwhile, it's funny because I got out of trade. I was telling Kiara before I got out of the trade, where you see that big move down on the 1-minute chart. But earlier in this hour, I was in that trade, and I got out with about 3 pips. I think I got it. I was shooting to get 3 pips. I got 2.8, I think, on it. But if I had held on to that trade, for another, 5, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, something like that, I could have gotten out with, 13 and a half pips, so, but those are the things that happen. And I had my reasons for getting out. I got out because I was about to go back into that area where it had been bouncing off of for the last hour or 2. Why? I don't need to be the guy that goes and bleeds. And what I mean by that is that I don't have to go and I don't have to be the guy that's running point all the time, knocking down the wall. Let somebody else knock down the wall, and I'll take the easy trades when the wall is down. And what that means is that when we get to the wall, I'm going to go and take my money off the table and walk away, and just be happy with a little bit. Rather than be happy with a little bit than sit there and have to be stuck in the trade, because potentially it could have run all the way back up again, above the monthly open. It very easily could have done that, and let's face it, the hour before it did that every time. So why do I need to go and chisel that wall down? Let somebody else do it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Tiro, you know this, but probably some of the other folks out there don't. I work in some software development, at one point in time, and the reality is, when people, I was up more on the project management side of it, but people would go and say, should we buy this? Should we buy that? And it's like, my answer was always, I always want to be honest with them. But my answer, by the way, you got news dropping right this second. We'll see what the market does. But my answer always was, do you absolutely need these features right now? If you don't, let somebody else go and have to go and do all the bug fixing. You don't need to do that, But at the same time, if you need these features, well, then you go and do it. Well, I kind of take trading and making akin to that, and sort of like, I don't need to be knocking that wall down. Let somebody else do it. That's, I'll just go and take my pips and put them in my pocket, go buy lunch.
Exactly.
But looks like we really didn't get any movement off of this movement. We had final manufacturing, which is red news, just come out, and it was a miss, but it missed it by 0.1, so it's not going to have it shouldn't have anything. And that number, I don't know why they actually have this as red. In my opinion, it should be orange, because by the time you get final manufacturing PMI, there have been 3 revisions to it already. There never is a change to that number. It just doesn't happen. I guess they have it as red because what if there was a change to that number? That would make the market move. It would blast it in one direction or the other. So maybe that's why they make it red. But I can't think of a time when that number was not within like 0.1 or 0.2, of what the forecast was. But we will have more red news at 10 o'clock. Today is just like, you look at FOREX Factory, it's like everything is red.
Well, the thing is, I think they're probably waiting for NFP on Friday, right?
Yep, and the other one we got Jolt's job numbers coming out in 15 minutes, and then tomorrow we've got ADP's numbers that are coming out, which always gives actually ADP numbers came out already. I'm sorry. The end of the last week's job numbers are coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's a busy week.
Yeah, hey, it was something to note, the MT4 traders, and I guess even MT5, anybody using MetaTrader, some of these brokers are shutting down accounts. In fact, another one of my accounts got shut down this last month because they said, I guess our U.S. government doesn't like MetaTrader or something. Doesn't want us to use it. Hey, now the price is moving down steadily.
Yep, that's a big drop. But it's still within that range. Notice what it did.
Right.
It went down to that range, down at what? What is that number? That's 77.3. And we're still at 32 pips where, it's like, it's crazy. We're 9 pips, away from the open, and from the low we're 16 pips and 16 pips from the top. Mm-hmm. So right in the middle.
Right.
So I don't know what this market's doing. It's just it's stuck. I don't think it knows what it's doing.
Yeah. Well, I know one thing. What we're doing, we're going to have to sign off here because the fastest 15 minutes in trading is just about over. So, fellow traders, thanks again for watching and listening. And always remember, never forget, when you're at your trading platform, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is TheRumpledOne, over and out.